welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. On Wisdom Wednesdays, I cover tips on baking. And today I am going to go right to the beginning of flour. Flour, yes, you heard right. What's with flour, you ask? And flour is where I would like to start because that's where a lot of the issues occur first. And it's like almost a right for bakers to take over the course of their baking careers to understand flours, right? If you have seen irregularities in your baking process, you're seeing too much pop on your bread, you're seeing too much wrinkling on your bread, you see a lot of those quality issues that you've never seen before, and everything else is the same. Like the dough conditioning is the same, the water is the same, the ingredients are all the same, and all of a sudden you see a quality issue. You know, quite possibly that could be the flour. And the reason why I say that, it's because I've been through all that. Like you, I've been through all that, right? And the biggest issue with this is really there's no support, you know, for that, especially if you are a new baker or you're a new mixer or you're a new bakery owner. Who's there to help you figure out your flour issues? All right. So if you are new to this field and you want to learn more, we are going to have a flour quality seminar next week. It's on Thursday. And you are going to have the world-renowned Arnaud Dubois from Chopin sharing tips with you on how to analyze your flour and how to understand flour receiving protocols. And even though you have baked this way for many, many years, and you're like, I bought the same flour from the same miller for the last 10 years. You know, what's different? Well, did you grow? Did you change products? Did you innovate? That's what's different, right? Every time you implement a new change into your process, like a new product, like a new equipment, you know, you put in these changes into your process, and you really have to understand your flour to deal with it. Okay. One of the biggest thing that I suggest to a lot of bakers out there, when you get into this game of upscaling, growing into a wholesale, more like a higher volume output bakery, to really look at your flour, because now you have the capacity to buy flour at a specified rate in the market. Okay, so think about the fact that not all flours created equal. All right, they're not the same. Okay, and to learn more, come to our class tomorrow and we'll discuss it. Sorry, next week. And oh, by the way, I'm on LinkedIn Live, and I am looking at my comments. So if you have any comments to make on flour, you can put them there and I can answer it live, right? So the issue is why flour? And what I've seen with a lot of bakeries, and one of the biggest mistakes in scaling up, is the type of flour. It's not about hard wheat or winter or spring wheat. I mean, you can always change that. You can do blends, and you can, you know, buy when the market's up and down, and, you know, so things like that. It's not about that. It's about aged flour and green flour. Look at BAKERpedia on green flour and aged flour. That's a huge difference. And if you can spend a couple pennies more on buying aged flour, it's going to save you a lot of money down the line, especially with dough conditioners and especially with quality. Why? Because after the milling process, if you set the flour aside to let it breathe, this is what it did in bakeries at the beginning of time. The flour is set in burlap bags, breathing for a few months before they are used. That's why they are strong, they are oxidized, and they're ready to go, and they absorb so much water. So you need to understand that if you let if you let the flour breathe, if you give them 14 days to breathe, then they will naturally oxidize and be strong and absorb more water. Okay, so that's my suggestion to you today. It's today's top tip is choose aged flour over green flour. All right, if you have the capacity to buy flour in bulk and you're comparing prices and you're comparing location, get something that is delivered to you by rail car that's going to take more than a week to come to you. And while the flour is in transit, it's slowly oxidizing. And then it sits at your silo for a couple more days before it's used. That's the best kind of flour to use. Okay. I'm not saying don't buy it from the miller down the road that delivers to you within 24 hours after it's milled. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you have the choice, buy from somewhere who can deliver aged flour to you. Okay. Say if someone is closer to you that delivers you green flour within 24 hours, ask yourself, do you have somewhere to store that? If you can store that in an empty rail car, or you can store that in an empty extra silo that you built somewhere, even for a couple more days or so, it's really going to help your quality and help it keep constant. Okay. And I have seen this in so many of my experiences with bakeries. I have seen bakeries using fresh milled flour and having more inconsistencies, lower protein quality, and lower water absorption versus the same formula being used at the bakery somewhere that uses real car flour that has been aged 3 to 4 weeks, and if you really can't do that, if you really can't get real flour, then you need to work on your dough conditioners. Okay, the one that uses the green flour uses more dough conditioners. That's just it. That's where you're going to spend your money for. So you can see that if you spend more dough conditioners on the green flour, you will use less dough conditioners on the aged flour. So that's where the give and take is. Okay, for the green flour, more oxidizing needs to happen because you're going to really stress out that dough with that dough pump and at high speed. So you need to have more oxidizing agents for the dough to be strong. Okay, for the aged flour, not so much. So if you are a procurement buyer, if you're a purchaser, you cannot buy the same dough conditioning system for both of these plants. They need to be different because the real car one needs less oxidizing agents and the green flour one needs more oxidizing agents. Okay, so if that's no problem, then do as you are doing already. But if you want to buy cheap dough conditioners for both plants, then both plants need to have the same flour. Okay, so I see these inconsistencies between bakeries and buying habits. Okay, your dough conditioner is vastly dependent on the kind of flour quality that you have. All right, and how would you, as a procurement person, understand flour quality? Well, come to our class next week, the BAKERpedia flour quality class. Then you will learn more about flour quality. Okay, so sign up today. It's free. You need to be a member. It's free to be a member so that you can come next week to our class. Okay. All right. So Alma asks, how to determine the bakery freshness by determination of setback value, and what it means if I set high setback value in the Fiscal graph. So I am pretty sure you are talking about the Milo graph. Is that correct? I am not familiar with that. But to me, bakery freshness is about the breadcrumb. And breadcrumb is all about starch gelatinization. And I believe Arnon next week would be the perfect person to answer your question. So thank you, Ala, for asking that question live. We should be able to answer it next week during the seminar. In next week's seminar, we are going to have Mark Florka as well. And Mark has been a baking expert, application specialist at ADM for a long time. Okay, so he has dealt with a lot of flour quality issues, and he should be able to give you, what's happening, at the backstage for flour quality. Okay, so I've got two really good guys for you next week. So please sign up. And if you enjoyed what I shared with you today, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us tomorrow too for the egg replacement class, because we are to the brink on that one. So many people signed up for that we need to like upgrade our service so that we could accommodate everyone. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. You will see me tomorrow on the egg replacement class sponsored by Arla, and then on a special thought leadership Thursday with Corbion. Okay, hang in there, bakers. Stay safe. And good news, we are almost getting vaccinated. Very, very, very close here. Okay? Stay safe. Bye-bye.